Another one. I did not have the chance to correct my relationship to him or her. I have guilt towards him or I was not entirely correct towards him. So if we had a problem in the relationship, I had this with my father. I had begun to correct my relationship with him, but I hadn't brought the relationship to the state I would like to have it be before he left. And so I had to work with this after he died. And in a meditation, I think it was the second or third day, I brought him to my mind and I said, I forgive you for all of this and I ask your forgiveness for all of what I have done. And I felt very clear after that. So the working on the forgiveness can be done also after the departure. We can either write or we can even do it mentally or even verbally, ask for forgiveness and give forgiveness even after the soul leaves the body. Another belief, he deserted me, he left me here. Children often have this. Some children cannot realize that the parents don't have a choice to die or not. I remember one specific woman, a German woman, who her father died when she was about 8, took it as an abandonment, and that he didn't love her enough to stay. And she grew up then with the belief that all men will abandon her and that she's not worthy of love. And so this is a misconception. I'm conceiving that I am not worthy for this person to stay in life. So this is a desertion, an abandonment. And another belief, society and my acquaintances will not want me since my loved one has died. This is especially true when a woman loses her husband, because she is programmed to believe that society will accept her and the other couples will accept her if she has a husband to go along. And also, because we don't feel very comfortable with people's unhappy feelings, usually after a few months, people tend to avoid us. In which really there is a loneliness which sets in. See, what happens is the real pain of death doesn't come until after a few months, because in the beginning you have so many legal matters to take care of, so many practical, economic matters to take care of. You have people coming and visiting all the time to pay their condolences. And then after a few months, all the paperwork is finished. The people have paid their condolences, and there's this silence. And in this silence, I really begin to feel the pain of the situation. In the beginning, there's a lot of activity. We don't feel as much. And it is true that some people withdraw their friendship, not because they don't love us, but because they don't feel comfortable enough with our negative feeling. And if we are always, every time they come over, crying and being negative, and they don't know how to handle this kind of situation, they gradually withdraw. And so this is also a problem which is created. Now, what are some of the emotions which we feel if we have the above mentioned beliefs? First of all, fear that I will not be able to continue by myself. Secondly, injustice, that life or God took my loved one. Thirdly, depression, that my life no longer has any meaning. This is why I usually try to direct such people towards some type of meaningful activity, which for me falls into 3 categories. One is spiritual growth, it is working on their own self-knowledge. Second is creativity, any form of creativity, writing, painting, dancing, theater. And thirdly, service to society. Now, of course, if they have economic needs, another meaningful activity will be working for money. So there are these 4 possibilities in the beginning. 4, guilt, that I did not express my love or other positive feelings enough to my loved one before he or she left. So the guilt that I did not express my love, or that I did something evil to the other person. 5, guilt that I should have done more to keep him or her alive, or should have been there when he or she left the body. I have heard people also say this, I should have been there. I left, and then 15 minutes later he left. You think that's by chance? He couldn't leave while I was there. This is very important to understand. Often our loved ones cannot leave when we, to whom they are most attached, are there. It's easier for them to leave when no one is there, or when someone more indifferent is there, less attached. Disappointment with myself for various reasons. Disillusionment with life and God. Sorrow and pain that I am not receiving the support and understanding which I need from others now in my difficult times. I have heard this quite frequently. Now that I'm having difficult times, everyone has deserted me. And as I mentioned earlier, it happens. So we should be especially sensitive to this and care for these people. Give attention to them. Bitterness towards life and God. Loneliness and alienation from others who do not feel my pain. This is why we have groups here once a month for people who have lost loved ones recently, because when you're with someone else who has also lost a loved one, you feel a certain affinity, a certain understanding. There's someone who understands my pain. There's something about pain that wants understanding. It's relieved when someone says, yes, I know what you're feeling. You see, somehow our pain is lessened. Jealousy towards those who still have their loved ones. Anger towards those whom I consider to be the cause of my loved one's death. So that could be someone who was driving the car, could be the doctor or nurse that made a mistake, could be someone who was making him upset all the time until he had a heart attack. This is what we believe. I believe that no one is the cause of anyone else's death. But the common belief is that the doctor is to blame, the driver is to blame, the other person is to blame. Anger towards God, who has allowed this to happen. This is not unusual. Revenge towards those who are at fault. This is very common, especially in Crete and Mani. So there's the whole eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth perception. And pain of the loss of the physical presence of my loved one in my life. So you can see that these beliefs and that these unhappy, unpleasant emotions are very natural after the loss of a loved one.